Alright guys, welcome to Coon Rocket. Familiar range if you've seen the Grand Thumb XM157 video, but we're here with some new products from Vortex. Here with Tucker Schmidt. You see him in some of the other videos, but what do we got here today?
It's an exciting time for the long-range shooter / long-range hunter. Vortex is releasing a few new products that I'm really excited about. I was fortunate enough to work with the new product development team on these quite a bit and get my hands on them a little before release. What they are is a ballistic rangefinding binocular. So the Talon 10X, those will come in 10 or 12 power, and then the Ace Weather Meter. Basically, that's a on-hand while you're shooting ballistic solver and weather device. So you can get the weather, up to date as you need it for whatever the conditions may be. Probably the coolest thing about these two devices, they work in conjunction with the GeoBallistics app, and they're all a seamless network. They're going to call that the Vortex Relay network. So anytime you go in and edit a profile in one of your devices, next time you link them up as an ecosystem, they will actually immediately sync, asking you which profile you want to pull from, so you always have one version of the truth. In the past, there's been a real issue connecting devices to your phone, to other devices. You always have like a lengthy process. Once you make the original connection on these to your cell phone or to your other devices in the network, it will now know that you have this serialized communication. So as soon as you turn them on, they'll automatically link, and then it'll ask you which profile you want to pull from. So theoretically, you build all your profiles on the GeoBallistics app. As soon as you link up one of these things, it'll ask you, do you want to use the GeoBallistics profiles? You just select yes, and then it's a seamless update through the network. Some of the updates on this, so we did have the Fury 5K binocular before these. That was kind of our first stab at a ballistic rangefinding binocular. We learned a lot. They were good at the time, but the new Talons, we feel like you're gonna have a hard time finding a better optic, especially at the price point. I think these are coming around $2,300, $2,200. Hasn't been finalized quite yet because this is pre-release. Most of the competitors are up north of 25, 28 in the mid 3,000s. And we honestly feel like these are going to perform a little bit better. Some of the updates over the Furies is a 10K laser versus a 5K. If you've ever used the Furies, you know they were a slow process between the range and the ballistics. These are going to be instant. As soon as you touch that, it's going to give you a range. It's going to give you a ballistic all within a half a second or so. Another thing I did, which was kind of cool, is as you open and close rangefinding binos, you always have a display on one side of the barrel. Yep. It's automatically going to cant and tilt the range so it looks level. It's not a must-have, but it sure is a nice to have.
Yeah, for sure.
They also put a reticle inside of there. You can either have a full grid half mil, or you can just have a partial, which is typically what I run. I need a vertical and a horizontal in there, and you can select half mil or 1 mil increments in that. The nice thing is you can have as much or as little in the display as you want. I don't know if we can get shots on that on camera or not of what the display actually looks like, but you can eliminate a lot of that information in there. Yeah. Typically, I just run the ballistics, the wind direction, and then your range, of course. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I know the relay is the big one, and the optical quality, that's a huge one. Typically, the Fury 5Ks were in that Viper category, which is good glass, but it's not known as great or top tier. What we did with the Talons is we actually made a UHD binocular at its core, so a really high end. That's Vortex's best. And then anytime you add a display or a film, you have to have a film in there to reflect the display. So it does degrade it a little bit. So it kind of lands in between the Razor HD and the Razor UHD bino. It's a really premium bino. I'm actually going to just run those in all the PRS matches and everything because the optics are that good.
Yeah. No, I got the ability to play with these ahead of time too. But like this morning with the range, we got that, having those coatings on it. We had the Furies, and I used those as well. But it's unbelievable that the quality of the optics compared to the other ones. And to touch on it real quick, if anybody else is a PRS shooter, I don't know how many times we've got behind bino somebody else, so when you're moving it, it's just really nice that it's always going to make that thing go center. So if someone else is using it, it always goes back to zero. So really cool.
Yeah, and there was one other update too. So in the Furies, there was no way to move the aiming reticle, right? So if you notice, you have to hold lower and lower the further you get, which typically isn't a problem, but it does happen, with the drops and the infield use. You can actually zero the aiming point inside of the binocular itself. So if you notice yourself having to laze low, and then the further it gets a little lower on target, you can actually zero the aiming laser up, down, left, or right, just to bring those things back into your center point.
So Talon's super excited about those. Looks like, you know, probably one of the best ones available on the market. We also got this Ace. What can you tell us about this Ace ballistic weather meter?
Yep, so anybody looking to take a long-range shot beyond their zero distance, this is the ticket, right? I mean, you can use apps and you can use a lot of different things, and there's others out there that do work well. This is our version of it. We've been working on it for a year and a half as far as having a prototype, fine-tuning, making it seamless. The cool thing about this is it's very simple to use for the very novice user, all the way up to the very fine-tunable for the very experienced user. And what these do is they give you weather right where you're standing. You don't have to pull from an airport 30 miles away. You can update per shot. You can actually live view it. It has a couple winds. It has mover settings. As a PRS shooter or anybody looking to shoot further than your zero distance, this thing's a game changer, man. I'm super pumped on this.
Exactly. We were at a match, actually. Remember, none of us had cell service. A lot of us would pull from the local airport. But, you know, when you're shooting a match and you're trying to get the DA and all that stuff, if you don't have internet, it kind of takes it away. This has everything in anything you need, weather, all that stuff, and it's really cool because you can update, and it automatically updates all of your holdovers, carries, all that kind of stuff, all the ballistics that the weather will affect.
So one of the cool things the engineers left in is that they know there's going to be updates to this, so they actually made the top module removable, so you may be able to clip things on into the future. So something cool that we can hopefully have for future projects.
You know, some things come to my mind. Timer.
That would be really cool. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Chronograph, yeah, all the cool things. So hopefully the possibilities are endless, and we'll have some cool things in the future. But for now, the Vortex Relay Network, the Ace, the Talon, the Impact 4000 also works for that. What do you think we get to shooting?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, cool. we got this 6.5 Creedmoor foundation stock. It's cool. We'll build a profile on this and see if we can hit some targets.
Love it. All right, so typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a profile first on the app itself. You can definitely build a profile on any of the devices. They all work standalone, so you don't have to have the app should you lose your phone or something of that nature, but typically it's easier to keep them inside of your phone library. You're going to go to the armory. I'm going to build a rifle in my rifles. I'm just going to edit a stock one with 243 Win. I'm going to go to edit. So we'll name this demo rifle. Very easy. And then select rifle cartridge. This one is a 6.5 Creedmoor, so they're all in numerical order, not bigger to smaller. 6.5 Creedmoor. Zero range 100, offsets, you don't need that. Barrel twist is going to be a 1 in 8. You just need to put the second number. Muzzle velocity should be somewhere around 2,700, or we'll call it 2,650 with that rifle. The bullet, you can actually pull from a bullet library. I'm going to say from the library itself, 6.5 Creedmoor. Our manufacturer is going to be Hornady in this case. Bullet weight will be 140, and it's going to give you the list of all the 140 Hornady bullets. We're going to go G7 ELD match. That's the one we're running. You can fine-tune that BC in there and at different velocities and whatnot. I know typically we run this around a 296, so I'm just going to go ahead and edit that now. And you can put your optics in here, overlays, but as far as getting out and getting to the range and getting shooting, that's the main portion. It really just takes a second. When you go back, that's going to save it. And so if I want to drag that bullet into my relay devices, I'm going to go to sort. I'm going to find the rifle I just built, which was called demo. I'm going to hold that down and just drag it over to relay. And then I will drag one out that I'm not using at the moment. Boom, and then I'll save that. And then inside that relay device, I'm going to find the one I just built, demo. I'm going to switch to that. So now we're going to hook up to the new Ace. I'll show you how easy this is. I'm going to power on the Ace. I'm going to go back. Bluetooth is down on the bottom right of the screen. I'm going to tap relay devices. You guys won't have this on your app yet until the 22nd. And it's going to pop up immediately. You see how easy that was? I'm just going to go to connect. And then it's going to take just a second to connect the first time. And usually once it's going to ask me if I want to use the profiles and range cards from GeoBallistic. So anytime it sees two versions of the truth, it's going to ask me which one do you want to use. So do you want to use the profiles from GeoBallistics? Yes. So all of those profiles just got pulled from the app into the device. And so now if I go to profiles in here, you're going to see all of these profiles that were from my phone. So anytime you turn this off and then turn it back on and your phone's open or on in the background, it is going to link seamlessly. That is by far one of the coolest parts about this whole system. That, as far as I know, nobody else has it. We're one company. We own the ballistic side. We own the hardware, the software. It makes it very easily for a seamless transition between the two. You can see the updated screen on the device itself. So anything in the wind is the column I normally use: wind 1, wind 2, direction, and then speeds. You can put up to 2. You can do average, max, min, max. You can kind of set that. Also, the mover screen is very cool if you're shooting moving targets. It's very easy to edit those things and then figure out the distance of lead that you need on any given shot. So we think it's cool. Let's try to put something to the test. All right, so we're getting ready to take some shots downrange. Before you do that, you want to get your environmentals calibrated on here. All you do is just go to the weather. The capture button is on the top right. That's going to get your DA solution, and that's what we use to kind of predict accurate targets downrange. We also need to get a wind direction and target direction. Before you do this, anything with a compass, modern day, you do have to calibrate it. There's a very simple step-by-step way to do that inside of here. It's going to give you little pictures, makes it very simple to do. Takes about a minute. Aside from that, I'm on the target. I'm going to highlight the target or point it in the direction of the target, and I'm going to hit the capture button. It's going to give me an azimuth for that, which is 152 degrees. After that, I'm going to go down to the wind. You can either highlight the wind direction to get that independently, or you can go to the speed and get one speed and direction. And this is something you'll just play with. Typically, if you have your speeds knocked out, you just update your direction so you can apply that solution to different engagements. So I'm going to point it into the wind now. I'm going to get a target direction and speed. Just going to give it a few seconds to kind of normalize to get a min and a max. So we ended up with 9 to 13 miles per hour, and the wind direction is 268 degrees azimuth. So let's go apply that to the shot, and we'll see where we end up. All right, so now that we got the profile built inside of Geoballistics and on the Ace itself, we're going to just pick a range out there, which we know we have a berm at 703. I'm going to have Chuck program that into the Ace, and it's going to spit out a solution. And that's what we're going to dial into the elevation turret. So 5.1 is what we got. So in theory, we should be able to lay down. It also gives us a wind hold of 0.3 right. Yep. I'm going to have Chuck shoot the smaller target at 700. We'll see if we'll get a first round impact.
Let's try it.
Give us 2 shots, Chuck. Impact! Impact!
You know, there's something about having this, like, the confidence in your head. You click it in, everything's built in there, and just knowing that everything in here is doing its job.
It takes the guesswork out of it. One cool thing I saw in the binos was actually I could watch the bullet the entire way to the target. I hope that shows up on camera.
Yep.
That way they know we're not cheating you for movie magic. But it felt like it was pretty good. It looked pretty good up and down, and your wind hold was solid. So I think we're in good shape, man. We're ready to go to a match.
Let's do it. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. It is available now. We're going to have a bundle pack with both of them on our website. We're also going to have some coupon codes down below. So MiddletonOutdoors.com. We got a bunch in stock. We'll send them right to your door. And hopefully you guys can enjoy this as much as we have. I mean, before it's available. But we'll see you at the range.
I don't know if you guys are going to do tutorials on your website, but if you guys need in-depth tutorials on how to set these things up with Geoballistics, Ace, Talon, check out Vortex.com.
Yep.
I think Nick was on there. He does a great job with going step-by-step to the device itself. So
cool. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll make you another one.